Yeah, Travis, if you're watching this video, your compression test tool or your gauge to on the compression test tool, it's broken. Welcome back. I think we're going to get started, really kind of investigate this. My last video, I think I've kind of indicated that there was a compression test done, and I didn't record it. But in the spirit of science, perhaps one tool was not calibrated correctly, or maybe we just need to verify if it was true or right or correct, or maybe it's an old, maybe the gauge is broken. Who knows? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's accurate. I have a feeling it's accurate because this car, if it had all the power like normal, it wouldn't require 3 shifts to go from 60 to 130. So I bought a compression test tool myself, or kit. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to pull all the spark plugs, unplug the injectors, and we're going to do our own compression test and leak down test. So why don't you stay tuned? Maybe you'll learn something, maybe I'll learn something, and hopefully what comes out of this is just it confirms that, this crate engine is tired. So start with driver's side. Let's go ahead and pull these little foam fuel rail covers off. We got to pop these clips out. Oh. Also, FYI, engine is cold. That's me touching the header. Before I get started on that side, let's not forget to unplug the injectors. Because if you leave these injectors plugged in and you go to do your compression test and crank this thing, you're just going to flood the engine with gasoline. And if you have enough gasoline inside of the cylinder, well, what's going to end up happening is you're going to fill it up with gasoline, might possibly hydro lock. Not good. Gonna move our, take our insulator off. You know what? Let's go ahead and unplug this right now. So injectors are all unplugged. Get the coil packs off. It looks like every cylinder on both banks is not. So let's do the first compression test. All right, well, the fuck, that's 100. That's reading 170 psi right there. This one's reading about 160 though. All right, let's do third cylinder. That one's a little lower. That one's probably like dead on 160. Get this guy. Throw it in there. Clear out the air. Alright. Give it a shot. That one's 175. $175. Oh, what? It's on the front. Well, it's 160. It's not really low. $165. That one's 160. And it's not leaking down either. So, because it's holding that pressure. Last one. Fire the hole. That one's a good one. It's 165. I got a pretty decent battery, and I've been doing this whole thing on a battery tender so that it doesn't kill the battery. So it was cranking pretty uniformly. It didn't sound like it was dying. It sounded like it kind of cranked pretty good. So I just did a compression test, and the numbers are coming back within spec. They're coming back as to what would be expected from a Gen 1 Mustang. So I'm starting to think that my buddy's compression tester, it's busted. The compression test came in within all 10% of each other. And yeah, it's not 200 psi. It's kind of close to 180, but I will say this only gets tighter when the engine gets warmed up. At least I think it should be, right? So I don't think it's the engine. Now, I got underneath the car and I did find something. For this, we need to go underneath the car I got my little flashlight. Ugh. So, look at that. There's fluid leaking out the transmission. Fluid all down here, and it's coming out the bell housing. Now, spoiler alert, I did go to I did go get my Boris Scope, and the Boris Scope shows that there's fluid on the inside of the bell housing. And if that's the case, that means that there's fluid that's leaking from the front input shaft of the transmission, and it's getting onto the clutch and flywheel. This would explain why the engine felt like it was down on power. It's because the power wasn't getting to the rear wheels. It's actually fluid, lubrication from the transmission, leaking through the front plate onto the clutch, and the clutch just doesn't have the hold power. It's slipping. It's why I needed more than 2 shifts to do a 60 to 130. Yeah, because the compression test is good. There's no knock activity. No signs of issues with the engine or fueling or lubrication. It's the transmission leaking fluid onto the clutch. The throwout bearing, the face of the throwout bearing was all wet. I didn't see any on the pressure plate, but if it's able to leak from the front plate all the way down the bell housing to the weep hole, or not the weep hole, or the little window, I'm sure it's getting slung up somehow. And does that mean a new clutch? So possibly a new clutch, because would that consider contaminating the clutch material? Boy, I feel like only thing left to do is put these spark plugs back in the engine and try to mentally prepare myself to drop the transmission. So, but I think for now we're gonna call it a night. I'm gonna basically kind of seal the engine back up, plug the harness back into all the injectors and spark plugs, and yeah, I think next video, I think we're dropping a transmission out, and we're gonna go make a call to the transmission shop and see if we can have a little chat on how we can fix this and perhaps prevent this from happening again. But that's a relief. I don't need an engine. Engine is apparently fine. So cool. I appreciate you guys watching. Go ahead and hit the like button. Comment down below what your thoughts is on these findings. And if you're new here, why don't you think about subscribing? Because as soon as we get this thing back together, we're going back racing. Because we had so much fun with the oval track. We're definitely going to be doing that again. Probably going to wait for the hot summer months to clear out. And then we're going to get back to racing probably sometime in September, where it cools down a little bit more tolerable, because you know that AC is non-existent in this car. So thank you for watching. See you guys later.